Okay, good day. Welcome back. Today we're working on the UTU. The goal was to get it started for William, and let me show you where we're at with it. So the first thing that we had to do is this lower radiator return. They had an engine block heater that was stubbed off of this fitting, and when we were chaining it up, we broke it and drained all the antifreeze out of it. So when we got it home, we took that we took the rubber piping off, and then I went to try to turn this fitting so that I could get at that busted bung with an easy out, and the fitting that they put in there was copper, so the whole thing just shattered. I barely put any force on it and it just shattered. So that's what was left of that. So I had to find a new fitting, which I did, and we were able to get the heater deleted, so that's no longer in there. And we got it put back together, got it holding coolant, so we're all good there. From there, I threw a battery in it, and we attempted to start it. The first time I hit the start button, I got nothing. So I ended up crossing the solenoid with a screwdriver just to get the starter to turn over. Later on today, I did go through and tighten everything, and I just found it was a bad connection. So the solenoid's working, start button is now working. That's all good. First time we turned it over, it just turned over, and we didn't get any fire. So I pulled the rotor cap off the distributor and took some sandpaper to the points, put it back on. We tried to fire it up again, and again it just turned over, but then I realized I hadn't flipped the ignition button on. So I flipped the ignition button on, hit it again, and it popped off on ether and took right off on LP.
Well, it's definitely doing something because it's spitting shit out the back here.
Huh?
Spitting
Well,
shit
yeah,
out
because
definitely doing something.
is that open or closed? That's closed, that's open. Let's do this. Close that. I don't think there's any spark.
I don't think so either.
Well, I hear gas going through. Oh, that's hot. Okay, so we need to see if there's spark. Look. Whoops. And that's rusted to beat hell. Well, give me that. There's some sandpaper in the four-wheeler there.
Cut a corner off?
Yeah. Okay. Now where did I put that screwdriver?
It's over here.
Come on. Yeah, that's open. Huh. Oh. That might have been me this time. Come on. So we got it running, but I didn't let them run it too long because with having swapped out that radiator part, I wanted to make sure that we had good water flow or coolant flow, and I was pretty sure that temperature gauge was not working. So we parked it, and then today I put on a new temperature gauge and tested it out, and that is reading coolant temp. So I just stuck it in the pillar there. Amps are reading, and it does seem like the generator is charging the battery, which is good. And the oil pressure is definitely working. The oil pressure gauge is working. It's got around 20, I'd say 24 to 25 pounds of oil pressure when it's operating, which is good. So yeah, now that that's all taken care of, he should be able to operate this thing without problem and be able to keep an eye on whether or not it's getting hot, but I don't believe it is. And from this point on, it's his to deal with. So the only thing we haven't done yet is put together a system to actually put LP in the tank. Now the gauge on the tank reads 0, but it's run quite a bit already, so I'm guessing that gauge is probably busted. So I just have to come up with a hose so that I can fill the tank, and then he should be free to do whatever he wants to do with it. Yeah, I was really happy to get it going. So that was project 1 this week. I will take you over and show you what project 2 was. Okay, so this is project 2. I took over one of my dad's old sheds, got it all cleaned out, started putting up shelving. I'm not done yet. I still got quite a bit more shelving that I want to purchase. I want to be able to go all the way around and get everything organized. But a lot of the parts and stuff that I brought home from the auction, they've all got a home on the shelf. Temporarily for right now, but eventually I'll have it all sorted out, and I'll be able to see what I have and know where things are. So yeah, that was another big part of my week this week. Project number 3 had to do with Old Smoky. I've been having problems with this grease and hydraulic pump, and more directly the drive for that pump. It's starting to skip, and in looking at the sprockets, there's a pretty good reason why. So that's pretty well worn out, and I decided that I was going to try to change it over to a belt system. So I found a couple of pulleys and pieced together everything for a belt system, and then I found that I was still having the same problem, that as soon as I was putting the pump under load, it was binding up and the belt was slipping. And so I'm pretty positive that I've got a bearing in this pump that is gone out or is going out. Right now it'll free spin pretty good, although you can hear drag in there. And as soon as you put load on the pump, I'm thinking that bearing is binding up and that shaft ceases to turn. So I don't think the problem is in my drive. I think the problem is in my pump, and that will probably be a next week project. I'm thinking I'm going to take the pump off and pull it apart and see what it looks like to replace those bearings, but more than likely I'm probably going to end up springing for a different pump and redoing this. But I've got the weekend to think on that. That's where I'm at with that. Old Smoky is getting the best of me again. And that was project 3. Now we'll move on to project 4. Okay, so we got the RTE moved into the pole shed, and I'm ready to start getting back to work on that next week. First order of business is going to be, I've got to pull the valves out of this cylinder block I bought last year, and then I've got to blast the cylinder blocks and get them ready to start rebuilding. So that will be next week, but that wasn't even project 4. Project 4 was these parts right here. So it's about 3 weeks until the Montevideo tractor show that is featuring Minneapolis Moline this year. And the plan is to take the 335 and the 445 down there for the 2-day event. And there's just a couple of touch-up things that I wanted to get done, and this was the start of it. So I built a couple of top link holders for each of the tractors. Up until now, all I've had in there the pin that holds the third link on, and that's been kind of holding it up, but they're free to move. And this was something that I meant to do, but I just didn't have the time last year. So we got those put together. I'm not the best with metalworking, at least not yet. I keep working towards it and practicing, but you can see my bends aren't the best, but it's going to do the job, and it's not going to look bad. I cleaned up that under the hood toolbox and got it painted, so that's ready to go in the 335. And then I took these arms that are sway arms for that drawbar, not drawbar, the three-point drawbar, and then I'll get that put in next week too. So this is going to get the weekend to dry really well, and then we'll pull the 335 in here next week. I've got to take the side panel off anyway and fix some of the linkage on the throttle. And then as we do that, I've got one of the brackets that this sits on. I have to get flipped around so that the bolt hole's on the right side, and we'll get this installed. And then we'll pretty much be ready to go for that show, other than they've got to be washed and cleaned up a little bit. But I'm really happy to have that done because I'm tired of thinking about it. So yeah, I want to thank everybody that has tuned into the channel. We've been getting some great information about the questions that I'm asking. I asked about this rear PTO drive, where it came from and what it's for, and we got the answer to that. It belongs to a letter series. In fact, it would bolt right onto the back of this U, and what it would do is it would drive this pneumatic roller lift with a jack shaft that runs down to it. So rather than having the hydraulic cylinder, you would have a geared system that would do it, which is really cool. And I actually also got the jack shaft and the pneumatic roller lift sitting in the building over there, so got all the components to make it happen if I ever wanted to. So you know, thanks for that. And then we got a really cool comment on the last video about the history of this tractor, and I'll put it up for you to read here. But you know, that's special stuff to have, to be able to know backstory and history, and kind of get an idea of what kind of a life the tractor led, because in a lot of cases, with all these restorations, that's part of the fun, is seeing all of these things, like all of the welds that were on the 335, and just what kind of a life this must have gone through, and trying to guess at how that kind of stuff could even happen. To have some of the answers to those questions, like where did that hydraulic tank come from? Well, they put the hydraulic tank on because they had a loader on the front of this thing at one point, and they were using it that way. And to know that this was a converted LP, and where that happened. So all that information is really cool to have. Definitely appreciate it. We appreciate the support. That's going to wrap it for this one. I know it's a little bit shorter, but I wanted to get you an update on the U. And as always, take your foot off the clutch. Thanks, everybody.